All right, guys. Hey, welcome. Thanks for coming back and joining us. My name's Jake Godlewski, and we, of course, are live this morning. We are continuing what we were talking about last week, which is the table of the Lord. This week specifically, what I'm talking about is going to be what are some of the manners or what are some of the rules for the table of the Lord. And one of the big rules, the big manner for the table of the Lord is this: no outside food or drink allowed. Here's what I mean by that. At the table of the Lord, everything at that table is His. If we look at the Genesis 1 account of creation, God created everything that's in the physical universe. Right? He's the one that said, "Let there be light." He's also the one who said, "Let there be land, and let there be sea, and let there be man and fish and animals." Everything, including our life force, the thing that makes man unique, comes from God. Okay? All of that is from God. Everything in our physical universe is from God. It's His. It's not ours. We didn't make it. This extends, though, beyond the physical universe. If we look at... Oh, you see my face twice there. That's kind of weird. Sorry about that. If we look at Ephesians here, it says that, "For it is by grace you have been saved through faith. It is not from yourselves. It is a gift from God." Right? Not by works, so that any man can boast. Salvation, then, too, is also from God. Salvation is Him. All right, we can also see this in Corinthians. I like this because it's very powerful. It talks about communion. It talks about the meal that commemorates the death of Jesus Christ, the thing that makes it possible for us to be saved. And here we can read it when Jesus spoke about the meal and spoke about His death. He said, "This is..." I don't know if you can see this or not. It says, "This is my body, which is for you." Or some versions might say, "broken for you. Do this in remembrance of me." And then the same way, He also took the cup from the after supper, saying, "This cup is the new covenant in my blood." All right? So it was His body. It was His blood broken for you. Salvation is also from the Lord. So at the table of the Lord, redemption is also from God. But look, it goes even further. Check this out. If we go into First John 4:19, we get this short verse right here. Very important, though. "We love because He first loved us." That means that even the love that we have comes from God. And we can't truly love God unless we receive that love from Him. We can only love Him with the love that He gives us. We can't even love Him with our own love. We don't even bring that to the table. And so if you are going to eat at the table of the Lord, there's no outside food or drink allowed. You have to be able to sit at the table and receive. And this is why this is significant. You don't want the table to be based on your love, do you? Have you ever had a close personal friendship or a significant other, and you loved them, you really cared about them, but when you had a bad day, when something went wrong in your relationship, or at the first sign that they did something you didn't like, you betrayed them, you snapped at them, you did something mean to them. You see, your love is fickle, and you don't want to eat at that love at the table of the Lord. Rather, when we look at God's love, what does it say here? Romans 5:8 says this: "But God demonstrates His own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us." That's the kind of love you want, and that's the kind of love that you find at the table of the Lord. So you have to be able to receive that love from Him. You can't bring your own. Some of some of you really struggle with habitual sin because you haven't received the love of the Lord in this area of your life. You see, you keep getting up from the table and you keep trying to go conquer this sin on your own so that you can bring it back to the table and say, hey, Lord, look what I did. Look what I did for you. Look how much I loved you. I beat this sin for you. But there's no outside food or drink allowed. If you want to beat that thing, you have to receive God's love for you despite that sin in you. And as you receive that love and recognize that you're truly loved despite the things that you do wrong, what you'll see is that as you experience love, you'll be these other sins, they'll fade away. Why? Because you'll start to see value. You'll start to see what it's like to be valued, and you'll start to value that, and you'll realize that these sins in your life, they don't value you, and you'll naturally gravitate away from them. Just like when you have a bunch of bad friends and then you get a really good friend, you end up spending most of your time with a really good friend. Why? Because your acquaintances or your bad friends aren't worth your time, and that happens naturally. All right, so receive the love for the Lord in that area. The other area I'll address when it comes to receiving God's love is in the area of fear. All right? Some of you are looking at your limits. You're looking at what you can bring to the table. But remember, there's no outside food or drink allowed. The God that you serve does not have limits. Okay? And so, stop looking at yourself and start receiving his love for you in this way and realize that he is limitless. And I want to say this. God is limitless in how he will, in the means that he will employ to help you. And what I mean by that is Christ didn't save himself when it came to helping you. He was willing to give of himself. So God will expend all of his resources to save you. And he did, even himself. Even himself is not exempt from that. And you have a God that is limitless. And he will use that limitlessness for your benefit. So I want to say this. We are the bride of Christ. Right? And is the bride of the rich man, does he ever starve? No, he doesn't. Right? Does the bride of the strong man, does she ever get beaten? No, she doesn't. Why? Because she is loved by her husband and he employs his resources to help her. And that's the same way with us. So when it comes to the area of fear, many of you are not receiving God's love for you in this area. And so today, I want you to follow our original verse here. Okay, the original verse right here, Isaiah 55. Right? It says, come buy wine and milk without money and without cost. Why spend money on what is not bread and your labor on what does not satisfy? Listen to me and eat what is good, and you will delight in the richest of fare. Delight in the richest of fare today. Receive from the Lord. Just receive. Jesus loves you. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.